Good morning and welcome to Yoga at Home. We're just going to start our yoga class this morning in a standing position. So if you just want to give your legs a little bit of a wobble, if you've maybe just rolled out of bed, rolled your mat down and you're feeling still a little bit crunchy. So we're going to start off in mountain pose. So just bring your feet together, just hip width apart and just find some nice strong legs. Just bend your knees just slightly so that you're not locking your knees back. And then just bringing your torso, your buttocks, bring your buttocks forward a little bit. Nice straight torso. Hands down next to your thighs or along your body. Bring your hands or facing, your palms facing forward. Again, bending those knees a little bit. Shoulders back. Just bring those shoulders blades back down the back of your neck, away from your ears. And then just closing down your eyes and just a few deep breaths. So just coming into mountain pose, just finding that lovely space between your feet and the floor or your mat. Just feeling that lovely firmness as though that you're starting to put some roots into the ground. Nice deep breaths. In for two, out for two. In through the nose, out through the nose. Bring those arms above your head, just bringing your feet out a little bit more slightly, just for balance mainly than anything. And then we're going to just come over to, which is my right side, lovely side stretch, bringing that right hand down, left hand over, and then just bring those shoulders back so that you're not going over, you're actually working towards the back. Just gentle bend in those knees so you're not locking those knees. Finding that stretch way up to the fingertips. Coming back up again, arms up to the ceiling. Looking up to the ceiling. Giving your neck a little bit of love. Down to the chest. And then back up to the ceiling again. And then coming over to my left side. Lovely side stretch there. So just gentle moves this morning as we go into a slow flow. Coming back up to the ceiling again. Now this time just over to the right, holding it there, feeling that lovely stretch, and then back over to the left. Just a little bit of flow with your arms this time. Stretching from your toes through to your fingertips. Being deliberate in the pose. Feeling the movement. Just two more times. Bringing hands down by your side. Staying where you are, I'm just coming sideways on the mat. So just again, walking those legs and knees out, getting a bit of movement into the body. Bringing your hands just above your buttocks and working your elbows. Again, feet hip width apart or whatever's comfortable for you. Bending those knees slightly. Just hands on the buttocks. Bringing those elbows towards each other and a gentle, gentle back bend because it's still early. Holding here. Coming back up to standing. Again, giving that a shake out. We're going to do the counter pose with a forward fold. Arms up to the ceiling. Again, gentle back bend down through heart center. Bending those knees if need be. This is the first forward fold for the morning. Again, using your blocks or your props. So if you do have some blocks or bolsters with you, maybe you'd like to use those this morning to help you start to unpack down towards the mat. Bending those knees slightly. Feeling that lovely stretch starting to happen between your ankles and your buttocks. Nice deep breaths. Peeling yourself back up to standing. Nice and slow. Coming up to a standing position, arms up to the ceiling, gentle back bend, down through heart center, forward fold again. Finding that fold, a little bit more space. Nice deep breaths. One more breath. Gently peeling yourself up again, bending those knees. Peeling up to the ceiling, arms up to the ceiling, gentle back bend. One more forward fold, bending those knees, feeling some movement in the hips, the thighs, the calves, the hamstrings. This time let's pop our hands over each elbow, so opposite elbows. Just give yourself a little bit of a swing here. Really working towards flopping that body over, looking at your knees, feeling that stretch in the glutes, the buttocks, the lower back. Nice deep breaths. Hands back down onto the mat, bend those knees if you need to, or use your blocks. Again, bending knees, peeling up to standing. Arms up to the ceiling, gentle back bend. Coming down through heart center, into mountain pose. Just giving those feet a little bit of a stretch out again, so the forward folds. So coming into warrior one, left foot to the front of the mat, right foot at a 45-degree angle. Finding your space that is comfortable for your legs and you've got a little bit of strength to hold the position without wobbling too much. So just gently bringing those feet into position, finding that strength. Bringing your torso to the front with warrior one. Bring those hips forward. Having that knee and that ankle in a straight line, so not that the knee is over the ankle. And nice straight leg at the back. Holding your hands on your hips or in heart center. And then working up towards the ceiling. And a gentle back bend. Eyes up or eyes forward, wherever your balance is this morning. Holding here for 4 breaths. Nice deep breaths, shoulders away from your ears. Last breath. Coming down through heart center. Then we're leaning over the pose, hands down onto the ground or using your blocks. Again, getting your props near you. Bringing that back foot around so it's nice and straight. Bring that knee down using a blanket or a pillow or a towel if that's comfortable for your knee. And just high lunge. Nice stretch, hip opener. If you'd like to bring your blocks up a little bit, you get a little bit more height into that lunge, bringing that foot forward a little bit more, making sure that that knee and that ankle are nice and square to each other rather than knee being over the ankle. Holding here in this stretch for 3 breaths. Last breath. A little bit into the pose, a bit more. Popping your blocks in front of you. We will use them again. Popping the left foot off to the side, to the back of the mat. Bring the knees out to either side of the mat. This time, if you wish to use your bolster, you can pop your bolster in front of you for child's pose, or if you find it a little bit difficult to get down your buttocks down towards your ankle, then pop it behind you. So you can sit into your bolster and then leaning forward. Nice deep breaths. Bring that chest and the chin down towards the mat, or if you're into your bolster, onto your bolster. Shoulders away from your ears. Two more deep breaths. Coming back up to tabletop position, move the bolster away wherever it is. Coming to tabletop position. Just a cat-cow, so bringing that stomach down towards the mat. Bending those elbows slightly, tucking those toes if you want to give your toes a little bit of a stretch at the same time. Eyes up towards the ceiling. And then coming back to cat. So bring your body up towards the ceiling. So someone has a string on your back, tucking your chin towards your chest. Flattening those feet. One more time, back down for cat. Feeling that lovely stretch in your torso, your buttocks, your shoulders. Flattening those feet, back up for cat. Up towards the ceiling or the sky. Shoulders away from your ears. Coming back to tabletop, we're going to bring our hands out to the front of the mat as we lean backwards, tuck our toes, leaning forwards, bringing those knees up for downward facing dog. So just walking that dog out, finding some comfort in dog, stretching those calves, finding where you're comfortable with your hands and your shoulders away from your ears, working your chest towards your thighs, finding those straight lines between your fingers and your buttocks, bending those knees if you need to. And then slowly starting to stretch out those legs, finding your ankles towards the mat eventually. Your head is just nice and loose, deep breaths. Finding your downward facing dog that's comfortable for you. 3 deep breaths. Last breath. Walking that dog out again. We're going to lift our left leg up to the front of the mat. Right leg to the front of the mat. Forward fold. Half lift. Forward fold, looking at the knees. Half lift, looking forward. Flat back. Forward fold. Bending those knees this time. Crouching down as we bring ourselves slowly up to standing again. Arms up towards the ceiling, gentle back bend, and then down through heart center. Just give ourselves a bit of a shake out, and we'll go on to the other side. So move your props somewhere where you're able to find them nice and easily. Just a couple of forward folds before we go into warrior one. So arms up towards the ceiling, feet hip width apart, down through your heart center, forward fold, half lift, forward fold, half lift, forward fold, bending those knees down, crouching down if you'd like to get that lovely feeling of a stretch up towards the ceiling, and back bend again, down through Hatsana. Bringing this time your right foot forward and then your left foot back into Warrior One. Finding that lovely comfortable position with your legs so you're nice and strong. Planting those feet into the mat. Bringing that torso forward so it's facing forward. Hands in heart center on hips. Arms up to the ceiling once you find your balance and the strength in your legs. Gentle back bend. Deep breaths for 4, looking forward or up. Shoulders away from your ears. Nice deep breaths. Last breath. Hands down through heart center, leaning over the front leg, down towards the mat, bringing that back leg around so it's facing straight. Get your blocks if you'd like to for low lunge, bringing that knee down using a towel or a blanket, untucking that toe. Finding that ankle and that knee in line with each other. Just checking on that back leg that it's not wandering off to somewhere else it shouldn't be. Again, finding that stretch which is comfortable for you. That lovely hip opener, maybe you'd like your blocks up a little bit higher. I love using blocks in low lunge. It just gives you another type of stretch between your hips, your buttocks, your lower back. Holding here for 2 more breaths. Popping your blocks out of the way, coming through with that right leg to the back of the mat. Again, open those knees either side of the mat, leaning back into child's pose. Now, if you want to use your bolster again, I used it at the back of the legs. This time I'm going to use it at the front. So just tuck that in between your legs, rolling over your bolster, and then pop your left or your right cheek off to the side. Nice deep breaths for 4. Just on the second breath, if you want to bring your cheek over to the other side, just give your neck a little bit of love on either side with a beautiful stretch. Leaning back into those ankles, buttocks on the ankles. Last breath. Coming up into all fours again, popping the bolster out of the road. This time we're going to bring our right hand into the middle of the mat and raise our left hand up for a twist to the ceiling. Finding some space in those shoulders, stretching up as high as you can. And then coming back down again. This time left hand into the middle of the mat, right hand up towards the ceiling. Again, finding that space. And then hand back down onto the mat again. So leaning forward, hands forward, tucking those toes up to downward facing dog. Walking that dog out. Coming from your fingertips through to your buttocks, that lovely straight line, bending those knees to, if need be, working towards those ankles onto the mat. Holding here in dog for 2 deep breaths. This time bring our right foot to the front of the mat,
left foot to the front of the mat, forward fold, half lift, forward fold, bending those knees, peeling ourselves up towards the ceiling. Gentle back bend, hands down through heart center. Just shaking ourselves out again. We're just going to do a couple of flows before we work our way down to the mat to finish off class. So coming to the front of your mat, you should be a little bit looser now this morning. Arms up to the ceiling, gentle back bend. Coming down through forward fold, half lift, forward fold, hands on the mat. Right foot back, left foot back, on your knees if need be for chaturanga, lowering yourself down through chaturanga. Elbows towards your breast area, up for cobra. Chin back down onto the mat, tucking those toes, pushing up for downward facing dog. Walking that dog out. Left foot to the front of the mat, or right foot for the front of the mat, left foot to the front of the mat. Forward fold, half lift, forward fold, bending those knees, coming up, back bend, down through, forward fold again, half lift, forward fold, this time left foot to the back of the mat, right foot to the back of the mat, through chaturanga, scraping those elbows down through your rib cage, upward facing dog. Tucking those toes, downward facing dog. Finding the position where dog is comfortable for you. Holding into dog for 2 breaths. Bring the left foot to the front of the mat, right foot to the front of the mat, forward fold, half lift, forward fold. Bending those knees, last upward stretch, back bend, coming down through heart center. So we're going to make our way down to the mat. We're just coming down into a squat position, just lifting those ankles up, and then up as a bit of a balance with hands in heart center, leaving your hands on your mat if you find it a little bit difficult to balance, and then rolling over onto the buttocks as we come into a seated position onto our mat. So we're just going to do a couple of hip openers before we go into our final stretches for this morning. So just bring your feet together, toes together, balls of your feet together, bottom of your feet together, and just bring your knees out to either side. Again, if you want to use your block, have a block either side. So if you find it a little bit hard to stretch those knees out or to hold it in this asana, so then popping those blocks down or up, whichever is comfortable for you, until you can find that it's not stretching too much for you. So feel free to use your blocks in any position in yoga that you find that they're useful for. So just straight back, shoulders away from your ears, either holding underneath your feet, or if you'd like to bring your thumbs onto the ball of your feet and actually bring out your feet to so widen your feet as you widen your knees. Leaning forward with your elbows, a little bit of a stretch in the lower back, and then just maybe pushing those knees down towards the mat as well. Nice deep breaths, 2 more breaths. Gently bringing your knees together. Give yourself a hug, moving your props away if need be. Just shimmying forward to the front of the mat, arms out. We're going to slowly move ourselves down vertebrae by vertebrae by vertebrae. Onto the mat, shoulders, head and neck last. Bring those knees up for a hug. Shoulders down onto the mat, arms out either side. And then just rolling those knees over to the left side. Stretching those hips, lower back. Looking over to the right side. Shoulders down onto the mat. Bring those knees back up into the middle and then rolling over, feeling that loving massage on the back as you do the roll over to the right side, looking over to the left side. And coming back up into the middle again, giving yourself a lovely hug, stretching that right and left leg out, hovering it above the mat. Just really pulling in that right leg or that right knee towards your chest, stretching out that left leg, finding some space, and then bringing that left leg in, giving it a big hug and stretching that right leg out, just hovering it above the mat. Then bringing those knees together for a last hug. And if you're going to join us for Savasana, coming into Savasana, spending a couple of minutes of Savasana, I'll just be here for 30 seconds or so to guide you into Savasana. So just bringing your feet out to the side, tucking the shoulders underneath, chucking your chin a little bit, trying to find every bit of your body relaxing onto the mat, really melting into the mat, fingers up towards the ceiling. Gentle deep breaths in and out. Stay in Savasana if you find that you need to be there for a few more minutes as you round off your yoga home class this morning. So thank you for joining me for a slow flow. Hopefully your body feels a little bit less crunchy than it did when it started yoga this morning. So have a fantastic day. Namaste.